Welcome everyone back to Weekly Weather Updates, and this afternoon we'll have a look at the latest from the National Hurricane Centre as we have a lot of activity going on at the moment. We currently have Tropical Storm Ida, which is currently in the Gulf of Mexico heading over some of the Caribbean islands, and it does look like at the moment it could be upgraded to a major hurricane before it makes landfall in Louisiana, potentially near New Orleans over the next few days, potentially following the similar track to Hurricane Katrina. So we really have to keep an eye on this over the next few days. Could be some devastating impacts from that. We'll have a look at that in more detail. We also have a lot of other systems developing. Two smaller disturbances, but they have a very high chance of developing into a depression or a tropical storm over the next few days. 70% over the next 48 hours for disturbance 2, and 80% over the next 5 days. With that one as well, and then disturbance 1 has 50% over the next 48 hours and 60% over the coming days. If we do have a look at the 5-day graphical outlook, you can see that the two systems don't look like they're going to be heading to much land in the near future. Now their tracks can change, but it does look like they're going to be hovering out the Atlantic. So that's pretty positive news for those two systems. They're not going to be affecting any major land masses. But for Tropical Storm Ida, it does look like it may be providing some disruption and significant disruption over the coming days for some areas. We also have a look out in the Eastern Pacific. We do have Tropical Storm Nora at the moment. It's got sustained winds of 50 miles per hour, and it is just across Mexico from Tropical Storm Ida at the moment, and it does look like it's going to be heading up the coast of Mexico, potentially gaining hurricane status and impacting some areas at landfall as well. So we'll have to keep an eye with that as well, as that could probably be providing some significant impacts for some areas as well. It does look like, at least for the short time period, it's going to be hanging out off the coast in the Pacific, with potentially its outer winds and outer bands impacting land, and it may make landfall towards Monday, Tuesday. So we'll have to keep an eye on that over the next few days as well. But we are going to really concentrate on or soon to be major hurricane Ida. You can see at the moment it is a tropical storm. It's only got small winds at the moment, and it's heading towards Cuba, where they've got tropical storm warnings in force. But as it heads out to the Gulf of Mexico, very warm waters there. It's going to soon upgrade to a hurricane and a major hurricane before it makes landfall across the Louisiana coastline into New Orleans, maintaining hurricane strength as it makes landfall through Sunday afternoon into Monday morning local time. So for the UK, that's Sunday evening into Monday morning. It doesn't look particularly good on this current forecast track. It has upgraded significantly over the last 12 to 24 hours. Overnight, it has been upgraded potentially to a major hurricane. So there could be some very devastating impacts coming. And I do feel for anyone there, and hopefully anyone there is making the necessary precautions, as this could be another devastating event for the for the coastline in the Gulf of Mexico. If we do have a look at the earliest reasonable arrival time of tropical storm force winds, you can see even by Saturday evening across the coast of Alabama, Mississippi, all the way down to Louisiana, there is the potential for tropical storm winds to start to affect the coastline, even as early as Saturday at 8 p.m. It does look like, though, by sort of Sunday morning to Sunday afternoon, widespread tropical storm winds are going to be impacting these areas. And even parts of Florida potentially could be seeing some tropical storm winds. Low likelihood and probably not too many impacts from that, but could see some lively winds there as well. It does look like this is going to be quite a large system, and we could be seeing some very interesting time lapses over the next 24 to 48 hours of convection exploding with this storm out in the Gulf of Mexico. If we do have a look at the rainfall potential, you can see how large this system is going to be. Masses of rainfall across most of the Gulf of Mexico coast for America. And you can see 4 to 6 inches potentially widely. And in the center where the storm goes through near New Orleans, we could be seeing 10, 15 inches potentially, or even more than that. That is ridiculous amount of rainfall. And remember, 4 inches of rain is 100 millimeters of rain. So we could be looking at 30, 40 centimeters of rain in some regions, which is undoubtedly, with the storm surge, could be providing some devastating flooding. And this is why there could be some comparisons made with this to Hurricane Katrina. And we'll have to keep an eye on its exact track and how slow it does move. At the moment, looking at that forecast track, it doesn't look like it's going to be moving too slowly on landfall. But if it does slow up, we do see this rainfall stick around and strong winds stick around as well. We could be seeing some very devastating impacts from this. It doesn't look like it's going to degrade significantly as it moves inland. It is going to be still a strong storm, if not hurricane, even as it moves many miles inland, and we could still be seeing some significant rainfall even into some of the central states as well. If we have a look at the latest for the flash flooding potential, now at the moment it does look like for day 3, which is sort of the longer term outlook of the forecast, it only goes out to day 3 for the flash flooding. You can see New Orleans is in moderate, and I suspect it could be upgraded to a high chance of flash flooding. As with that rainfall and storm surge, there will be some significant flooding around if it does come off as forecasted. If we do have a look at the storm surge, 7 to 11 feet potentially at worst times along the Louisiana coastline, even into parts of Mississippi, potentially Alabama, maybe into Florida, could be seeing 3 to 5, maybe 4 to 7 inches of storm surge, which is significant. Remember, 7 to 11 feet is a lot taller than the average human being. That's getting towards 3 meters plus, which undoubtedly will flood many of these low-lying coastal areas. Yeah, I hope they are making the necessary precautions at the moment, as this could once again be another devastating storm for the Gulf of Mexico coastline. If we do have a look on Weather Nerds, which has very good satellite data for it at the moment, it's not visible, unfortunately, on the visible cloud data, satellite data. So we have to look at it infrared, and you can see at the moment we do have Ida, currently just south of Gulf of Mexico, with significant, and I mean significant, convection taking place. We also have that other tropical storm out just to the east, just the west of Mexico at the moment, that will be heading up the coastline. But you can see there is rapid convection taking place around the centre of this storm, and expecting that to increase over the coming hours and the next coming days, until it will be a major hurricane with a big wind field and rain field as well. Looking at this latest data, could be very large in size and strength as well as it heads northwestwards towards the Louisiana coastline. If we also have a look at the water vapor up, you can see the massive amount of water vapor within the atmosphere fueling this storm as it heads towards the Louisiana coastline. It could be very significant. Now, we have seen over the last few days the potential for this storm being very significant within some of the computer models, and it is starting to look like that the computer models from a few days ago are looking like they're going to be correct, and we are going to see a major storm with this. If we do lastly have a look at the latest from the GFS, which shows rapid deepening of this low pressure system. If we do firstly have a look at the sea surface temperatures, and you can see 30 plus degrees near the coast of Louisiana. And remember when I did my forecast on hurricanes over the last few weeks, I said 26-27 degrees is normally the sort of the level the water temperature needs to be to sustain, if not strengthen, a tropical depression and tropical system. 30 plus degrees, and that's why we're going to see this turn into a major hurricane with rapid deepening of this system, a lot of convection taking place, and this is why there could be some very dangerous conditions there. And I do suspect what is looking like at the moment, how it's been being upgraded pretty much every time they update the NHC. I suspect we could be seeing Cat 4, and I hope not Cat 5 potentially before this makes landfall. So we'll have to see over the coming days. I'll probably be putting up another update out tomorrow and have a look at it in more detail once again. But if we do go to the latest from the pressure charts, you can see at the moment just to the south of Cuba, it's not a particularly significant low pressure system at the moment, but just watch this as we run through. It slowly deepens as it heads over Cuba, losing a bit of strength, of course, as it goes over land, but as it heads out to the Gulf of Mexico, we see rapid deepening of this low pressure system. And as it makes landfall, you can see the amount of isobars wraps around this system. Very deep area of low pressure, making landfall. And I do suspect there could be some very, very dangerous conditions with this. If we do run it through just to see what happens with the track, as it heads on land, it's still very, very strong. Slowly, it is degrading, of course, as it loses its strength from the ocean. But it still continues up the northeast coastline before sort of petering away and sort of getting caught up with the jet stream towards northeast America into Canada as well. So it doesn't look like this is going to be a fast degrading storm. It does look like it's going to be carrying on for a good few days after it does make landfall, with a lot of rainfall and even some strong winds around for even areas quite far inland through the United States of America. So potential for a devastating storm. I haven't heard much buzz about it at the moment, as it has really been rapidly deepening and getting much worse within the forecast only really over the last day. So I do suspect that there'll be a lot more hype around this and a lot more info about this over the coming days, as it doesn't look like it does look like it's going to be pretty bad news for these areas. It does look like a major storm is incoming, and if you are in the area and you're watching this, do make sure you take the precautions. Make sure you do evacuate and follow all the warnings from your local forecasters and your local government as well, who will be advising you what to do. But yeah, looking like a very significant storm. And again, I did forecast a couple of months ago this was going to be an above average hurricane season, and it does look like it is starting to really take off now, with major hurricanes looking like, or major systems, if not lower end hurricanes to major hurricanes, looking like could be seeing once a week now for the next few weeks. So really doesn't look good, and hopefully it doesn't cause too much damage. And these forecasts are incorrect, of course, as I said with my videos of the last few weeks and forecasting these systems. This is the one time where I do hope my videos are wrong, and I do hope these models are really overdoing it, and we are wrong with the strength of the wind and the rainfall. But at this stage, it doesn't look good, and I really do pray for anyone who is going to be directly impacted by this storm. So anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you check out my UK forecast out later this afternoon. For the UK, it does look like a much more mundane outlook, with temperatures around average with very little precipitation. So it does look like reasonably good for the UK for this bank holiday weekend, but doesn't look quite good for America. So I'll see you for that video later.